Hi, this is Dr. Toby, your host on Health and Wellness. I invite you to watch our show this week. It has an incredible guest on it, Minister Frederick Lewis. He is a COVID survivor. He is a math teacher in the Worcester Parish system. He's also a father, a pastor, and a husband. He's going to share his experience with COVID-19. Minister Frederick Lewis lost his father, his mother, his brother to this dreadful virus, and he's going to be sharing his heart on how we as a community in the city of Monroe and in surrounding areas can fight this virus and defeat this virus. But not just that, he's going to be speaking from his heart about how to stay spiritually inspired, motivated, and passionate about Jesus after losing people that you dearly love. You don't want to miss it. This is Dr. Toby Moma inviting you to watch our show, Health and Wellness, on this station. Don't miss it. You'll be blessed. God bless you in Jesus' name. Stuff. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is Dr. Toby, your host on Health and Wellness. It's a pleasure to have you on our show. Don't touch that dial. We have a great guest, Minister Frederick Lewis. He's the pastor of the Heavenly Travelers Ministries in Booker T, Monroe area, and we're going to put the address on the screen. We want you to check him out. Also, he's married to his lovely wife and has two daughters. He's a math teacher with the Monroe Public School System, I believe. And he's also a COVID survivor. He suffered from COVID in the late part of March and unfortunately lost some loved ones. His father, mother, and his brother passed. And he's been sharing his heart about the experience. As a physician, he's given me insight into other parts of medicine that I didn't know about, how to break bad news, how to grieve properly, how to, how to share news with loved ones, how to follow up on people after they've gone through grief and, not just expect people to get over it this way and that way, but to let people grieve slowly through their own process. And he's also going to be sharing with us about his heartthrob, his wife, how he has shown that a partner can help you live healthier and longer. The Bible tells that if a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So when you marry, it's not a negative, it's a positive. You obtain favor from the Lord and you find a good thing, okay? So what happened at 40? Tell us the story. How did you get married? I'm sure you were the most eligible bachelor in Monroe at that time. So what happened?
Speaking on bachelorhood, I say what I say today for those men who needing inspiration, for those men who are looking for someone to find purpose in, and really when we examine how God created man, even before woman was here, God had created animal with its own kind, birds with their own kind, the fish with their own kind, but the only one that did not have one of his own kind was man, to reproduce. And so God says it's not good that man should be alone. And so let me give him somebody he can identify with.
Right.
And so for man, God created woman. And a woman is supposed to bring an enhancement to his life. And even at 40 years old, for me, as I got to know my wife, and what I've shared with you before is that me and my wife, we met on the set of a stage play that we were doing together. It was, the name of the stage play was With This Ring, and it's ironic that by the time we were over with, I had to say with this ring. We were together in those times. I was directing and acting, and she was an actress in the play, and we kind of got to know each other. Originally, she had caught my eye. Of course, she's a very beautiful young lady, and I am so glad that I have her. And what started the process, because again, I'd come out of a bad relationship, and I just said, well, Lord, it must be meant for me to be by myself. I guess I'll be like Paul. I'll be by myself, you know. And here it is that my wife, as we were working together on the play, got to know each other, and she reached out to me, saying that, hey, you know what? I saw some pictures that you had posted online. Y'all look like y'all were having fun. You didn't invite me. And I said, okay, hold on a minute. And that initiated things because up until that moment, I waited at a distance, because I thought, well, me being the director, I don't want to taint the water or anything like that.
Be professional.
But yes, I want to be professional. But the reality of it is that you never know when you really have a heart for God and God has a heart for you, where God wants to pair you and put you in a way, because he understands that there are some things you're going to face down the line that you may not be able to handle by yourself. And that if you have somebody spiritual and godly with you, you're able to deal with issues that will, by yourself, take you out. But if you have a support system through a wife that is not only somebody there for you, but praying for you through everything you're going through, that it becomes a ministry of helps.
So when we talk of support groups, a lot of people go join the COVID support group, the cancer support group, but your wife and your family are actually your greatest support group.
Yes, so, and it is like that to this day. Again, my family has always been there for me. When we've gone through our individual struggles, we've been able to rely on each other. And through this process, I don't think there's ever been a time where we've been forged any closer than we were through this time, because all of us were down. Myself, my wife, my sister, my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and who's my brother's wife that passed, one of the kids, my mom, my dad, my brother, my sister, all of us, we had it together. And in the process of losing them, coming through this, those of us who have come out of this really just right now have a whole new appreciation for life and have a whole new appreciation for each other and the purpose that God has called us to in our survival and our ability to minister in a way that people can see that we're just, for one, genuine people. Right. And people who have gone through some of the things that they may be going through, that no, we don't always have it together. No, we don't always feel like we're saved. We don't always feel like we are the ministers God has called us to, but faith goes beyond your feelings.
That's right.
And when you can learn how to reach past how you feel, you really find that the lessons that God has been preparing you for all this time are for this moment.
Tell us a bit about your daughters. You have two lovely daughters.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about them
and so as me and my wife,
parenthood changed you?
Yes.
Having kids, has that changed you a little anywhere?
As me and my wife got together during the play time, immediately we started our courtship. That play was on December 6th, 6 years ago now. 2014, and as we got to know each other, we officially started our courtship on that day, December 6th.
Wow.
We were married a year.
Quick.
Yes, sir. We were married a year later.
Wow.
We had gone through a lot of stuff together. We spent that whole year really forging through some things. And I just want to say this for those who may be getting ready, going through courtships and things like that, that my wife and I, we went through several hardships through our courtship. Things were not easy, that we were still trying to find each other out in the process of that courtship. And by the time we got married, there were some things that foundationally we had not put together just yet. So my advice to couples and things like that that are coming along now is you are going to be your greatest resource between each other. And so you want to take the time to make sure that whatever questions you have, whatever things you are going through at the time, uh, for myself coming through a bad relationship, getting into this one, I needed to make sure that I had healed properly, which I don't think I did. And it causes residual effects. And so, what you don't understand is that the enemy uses any cracks and crevices to separate marriages and to separate courtships, even because that potential marriage could be something that fosters stable people in society. You know, because stable families produce stable children and stable society. You know, and so having come through the things that we did, I would encourage anybody, even as we had talked earlier in the previous broadcast about learning how to use support groups and learning how to use professional counseling, things like that. There are some things that professionals do that would help you solidify a relationship, because really what you want to do is be the best self you can be for your spouse or for your future spouse. And coming to that, a lot of people would wonder, hey, well, you know what, you guys post on social media all the time. That does not mean you don't have problems. That does not mean that things don't come up. And because they do, it will always come up in the areas that you didn't shore up in your courtship. It will always come up in there because that's the weakest area of relationship. If you guys are fine financially, it'll never come up financially. If you're fine physically, it'll never come up physically. But if you're emotionally unstable, the areas will always come up in the emotion and or be symptomatic of emotional issues. And so you have to take your time to make sure that you address your issues individually, because coming together means that you guys are going to be a unit. And because you are that unit, the enemy does not want to see you together and does not want to see you stay together. And so he will throw whatever it is. And the place that is going to happen is the place of most insecurity. And so as you're going through your courtship, let me encourage you now, learn how to place that confidence and trust in each other, because it's going to be something that you will learn how to grow through, and God will prosper your marriage in. And because the both of us at the time when we got together, we had children already. I had a 5-year-old daughter. She had a 5-year-old daughter, Raina and Genesis, and they were our worlds. And so as we meshed ourselves together as a family, we are now a blended family. Oh. And so being that blended family, parenthood, meaning that I'm responsible for this little one. And God has given me charge as a parent over them, is kind of the overriding principle of what we do. You know, do together. Not only do we work in ministry together, but we also
Has she started preaching? No.
Yeah, she is actually a preacher. She's been preaching for a while now. As I met her, and that was one of the most attractive things to me about her, was that she was operating in ministry already. They were serving through her church, serving the homeless and ministering in a way that I found very, very attractive. And because I know my heart towards what God had called me to do so far as it concerned ministry and serving homeless people and doing the things that I've done, which was part of the driving force behind my run for mayor.
We're going to talk about that next.
Okay.
Yeah. So you recently veered into politics. So let's talk. What motivated you to go into run for mayor?
This year, 2020, I ran for mayor of the city of Monroe. And I wanted to do it because having grown up in Monroe, I had seen the condition of our community, and I felt like there was something I needed to do about it. And the best way for me to do that, to bring those changes to the city, the ideas and the innovation that I know God has placed in my mind, was to do it as mayor of the city of Monroe. I talked to my wife about this on last year. A year before they ever ran, and we decided that okay, we'll table the discussion. But as we drew nearer and nearer to the election year, we sat down and we talked, and she gave me confirmation to go ahead with what I felt like God was calling me to do.
Wow.
And we sat down and we talked to the girls about it. And so I ran for mayor this year. And
What did the school board say? I mean, I'm just curious because I've never heard of a teacher running. So how did the school board respond to that?
Well, as long as I wasn't doing any campaigning on my school time,
Okay.
they did not mind. And one of the things, or which was it, one of the reasons why I wanted to run for mayor, is because I take very seriously the job that I do in inspiring our kids to something greater.
Right.
Because generally our kids don't see anything past the 4 blocks of their living space, you know. And so I wanted to give them, I told them, if you ever want to make police officers treat you right, then you become the police officer that treats you right.
Right.
If you want more compassionate judges, you be the judge that sits on the bench.
Right.
You be the policy maker. You be the one who changes the policy, who sets the tone.
That's in a math class.
That's
Very impressive.
I tell my students all the time, I'm a real poor teacher if the only thing that I can do is teach you math. And so we deal with a holistic approach, which is kind of where I am in ministry. I have to deal with the total man.
Right.
And I want to inspire our kids to someday say, you know what, my math teacher told me I can do anything. And if I can learn that in math, I can teach that not only to my children, but I can teach this to my friends.
Wow.
You know, and I have a love for youth that wants to see them maximize their potential. And so that's why I told my students in all my classes, hey, I'm running for mayor, and I'm running for mayor so that you know that one day you can run for mayor if this is what you want to be.
Wow.
You can change your city. Not only mayor, but you can be the next judge, you can be the next sheriff, you can be the next politician, you can be the next pastor, whatever it is that God is laying on your heart, you can do it, because change only happens when somebody is willing to make that change.
Right. Well, you're right.
And you have to be the change
You have
that
to
you
be the
want.
change that you want. So tell us about your experience. I mean, obviously you traveled across, I don't know how many miles of Monroe, maybe 10, I mean, you know Monroe. So you probably went down almost every street. You know, you met different people. I'm sure there were some hostile people. There were some friendly people. What was your overall experience running for mayor?
Overall, running for mayor was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had. And the reason why I say that is because I got to forge relationships with a lot of the people that I had not known growing up in Monroe. A lot of people have known me from the several things I've done in the city. I've worked with Boy Scouts. I've worked with youth in almost every organization. I've worked with the 4th Judicial District DA's office, working with youth. I've also been a part of several of our local stage plays here. So, and having worked in both the parish system, which I currently work in now, and the Monroe City School System, which I've worked in prior, I got a chance to know kids and parents from every area of Monroe. I stayed on the south side of Monroe, on South 7th Street. My grandparents stayed on the east side, on both sides of
Booker T
of
area.
160. That's right. That's the Booker T area. And so I come from a pretty good swath of Monroe. You know, I live on the north side by the university in District 2. So that just put me in several different areas of Monroe. And of course, having seen all of these areas of Monroe, it caused me to want to make a change in what I was seeing in my city. And so having decided to run for mayor in January, we went and qualified to run for mayor. I got a chance to meet some awesome candidates. Our former mayor, Mayor Mayo, who was very awesome to me in my run for mayor. Just even having had a chance to get to know those that ran in the race was truly an amazing experience for me, to meet them as individuals and to get to know them, because each one of them in their own way reached out to me when I went down with COVID in March.
Wow.
And they They supported me through my healing process. Mayor Mayo went above and beyond, and I'm eternally grateful to his display of character towards me in my time going through COVID, and it was just simply amazing. I got to know so many people who really wanted to see change in our city. So many people who really wanted to see me out there on the forefront and to see what I would have done as mayor. That it got to be an experience that I would never ever regret for the rest of my life.
Amazing. That's amazing. So, what do we expect from you politically in the future? You're 45. Sorry, I'm revealing your age on
That's
national
fine.
TV. You're at the prime of your youth, if I may say that.
Yes, sir.
So, the world is your stage. Are you going to run for governor, Congress, mayor? What are you going to stay in ministry? What do we expect from you in the future, generally speaking?
Well, looking at things now, my first priority is ministry, and the reason why is because my dad was my pastor, and as he passed away in March, even before then, my dad had again already been preparing me for the eventuality that if he had decided to retire from ministry, that he was grooming myself and my brother to take his ministry over. That may have been years down the road because he had only just retired from work.
Why did you retire, by the way?
My dad had 45 years in at General Motors.
Wow.
And so he decided that it was time, and driving back and forth from Jackson to Monroe, he felt like this was his time. He wanted to focus on ministry and wanted to go ahead and be full-time pastoring and set up some of the things that he had in place, for his life already. And so I was looking forward to sitting under him. I was looking forward to being able to get some of that rich wisdom that my dad got, and be able to use it for my own platform, because this year was a year I had already told my wife that I was expecting God to do great things for me anyway. I had no idea about 2020. And if we all could have predicted what would happen, we would have approached it a whole lot differently.
Yep.
And so now for me, what I look at is ministry first. Outside of dealing with my family, it's ministry first, because I want to fulfill God's promise in my own life. I know so many things that God has for me in store. God has dealt with me even since I was a child about my future and things that he wants to carry me to. I want to also make an impact on my community. I did not run for mayor just to hold an office, but I wanted to make a change. And now that I'm in a position where I don't have the obligation of meeting with the city council or doing things like that, as God is blessing my ministry, I want to bless the community in which I sit, and definitely make a change. We've got so many things going on in our community right now, so far as the violence is concerned. We're killing one another at unprecedented rates, and my job as minister, as a called minister of God, is to bring change to the world in which I live. And I want to bring change in that area of Monroe. I also want to focus on my men and youth ministry, where we really begin to place men back at the forefront of what we need, because the reason why a lot of our kids are in the streets is because our men are not at home. They're so that they aren't making the impact that we need to get those young men, particularly young men, because young men are attracted to and attracted by other men in the street, because men run in packs. We gather together. We learn from each other. We actually find out what kind of man we are against other men. And so those young men are out there trying to find out who they are against the wrong kind of men. So that if we can get the kind of men in our homes, in our churches, in our community to stand up to where we need to be, then we can reach that capacity where we begin to take our kids off the street.
Wow. Thank you so. You're also a math teacher. Awesome word. And I'm believing God that your ministry will impact the Booker T area greatly. But you're a math teacher, and we know there's a shortfall of STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, in the African American community. I just felt I wanted to get your opinion on how we can improve the percentage of African American students who offer STEM in the college area when they go to college. Right now, it's about 30% less than Caucasians. So, what do you think we can do to help our African American students?
The real change, which is, and I tie this to why I was running for mayor, the real change that needs to take place, honestly, is in the home.
Mm,
We have to get to a point where we are emphasizing the need for education and emphasizing what we as African Americans do best. And we come from a long line of kings and queens and dating back to our history in Egypt and the things that as we as coming from uh, a history of mathematical success.
right.
You know, it is ingrained in our DNA. We just have to get to the point where we're bringing it out. So many things operate against us. Hollywood, the negativity and the violence in music and culture that impacts our society, where our kids then become engrossed in the Hollywood culture, into all of the images of what we put out as success, like I want to be a famous rapper throwing dollars around us, you know, how many women I have or how many people I have hanging on me, how big is my entourage, so that kids do not focus on what's important. Now we want to be athletes because it's the quickest way to financial success, where we have failed to teach our kids basic fundamental principles that will make them successful. If we can get to a point where we can emphasize education in the home, then we will lend that to kids falling into areas of strength like STEM. You know, let them see and actively participate in scientific process, in seeing nurses work, and in doing the things that require us to use the mathematical strengths that we have.
So, like your parents, they always inspired you to go. I mean, you never talked of dropping out of high school.
For us, listen, my mama picked cotton. I'm a generation removed from people that had to pick cotton to make a living. And so my mom always told us, hey, you're going to be somebody. You're going to... My dad was highly intelligent. His mom was the salutatorian in her class, and my dad valued having education. And so I had two people that would not accept no for an answer. You couldn't live in that household and not do your homework and not do what you had to do. And so from the background that I come from, it was geared in me at a young age that this is where you're going. You need not only to have a well-rounded education, being that you understand everything much like anybody else that's on the street, but I need you to have the book knowledge to accompany that street knowledge that you have. Yes.
Yeah, I learned it early in life. Education is the shortest cut from to success, really.
Yes, sir.
The shortest cut. A lot of people go through Hollywood, but if they tell you the percentage, it's so little. Education is a quicker and actually a more guaranteed way to attaining financial and other forms of success. We've had a great time with Minister Frederick Lewis. He's totally thrilled us with his words and his eloquent speech. You can see he's a man of God. You can go out and hear him at Heavenly Travelers Ministries. He's a preacher of the gospel. We love him and his wife dearly, and we support them wholeheartedly. Check us out, faithandpower.online. Be with us 18th of December 2020, Oyo Hotel 1051, Martin Luther King, 11 p.m. Holy Ghost Night, Praise Extravaganza. Look forward to seeing you. God bless you. Jesus is Lord. Amen. Thank you.